this should be better. I muted myself at the end of last stream and I forgot to re-enable it. So yeah, hello everybody. Sorry. Yeah. I was just talking about that it had been a long day and that I finally have fiber internet at home. I just did a quick speed test, got like 800 Mbit of Wi-Fi, and then turned it all off again because I still have to change a bunch of stuff. But I'm really pleased that that the fiber internet is finally at the home. So now I just have to break out some time to properly manage it. But yeah. So I haven't looked at day 9's code yet, the submissions. So I should probably go back because I promised. So let's take a look at the day 9 code for yesterday. I did look at my code a little bit more. Hey Nineberry, hey Martin and Luc, nice to have you all on Twitch. I added a Twitch overlay with the chat so that you can see it easily. So I'm working when I have a little bit of time. Let's see. For my code, I optimized the defrag a little bit. Let me just run it first to show the timings. I think the original part 1 was like 5.5 seconds, and part 2 was about 0.6 seconds, or 0.7. So part 2 was already fairly okay. Part 1, I shaved off about half of the length because I no longer create new collections, and I just have like this sorter here. So I just sort the collection after I add it instead of creating a new one and then sorting that. So that was a small optimization. It didn't take a lot of time to actually make things better. I'm sure it could be a lot better. That's why we will take a look at your code right now. So let's do that right now. Smab was first. I wonder if he refactored his code because he said, I really don't like my code, but got internet being replaced today and no more time to refactor. So 18 hours ago. So it looked like there was some time to change it. Let's see. Input as digits, create disk map. Okay, so that's the logic here. Disk map as ints, that's what parse in. Chunk 2, so that will create pairs, I think, right? Okay, so this will just create separate blocks with the ID there, and it will repeat it for how many sizes are. Okay, yeah, so chunk takes pairs of 2, and then for each one of those it will make sure, oh yeah, for the last one, so this one happens on the last one, you get just a file without an empty block. And enuo.repeat will just create as many times this that you specified here. So it's the same as like a new string where you specify a character and then how many times you want to repeat it. But then just for anything, basically. So he will treat everything just as separate values, which is probably a lot smarter. At least for part 1. Let's see, compact. And empty is a type here. Yeah. Const int empty is int.min value. Okay. So if it's not empty. So basically it has like a negative, or in this case int.min value as the ID for empty spaces, and then just positive numbers for the actual files. Let's see, it will go through that in reverse, and it checks if it's not empty. Okay, so it tries to find the next empty, And if we go past our current spot, we break. So you swap it there. Yeah. So this is a lot more efficient than what I was doing, that's for sure. And then it creates a new list based off that span. Yeah, this is the same. There's not much that you can do there. And for part 2, defragment. Also, it's just a different way of mapping the data. So now it becomes a block, and I assume that a block is just, we have it in the end. Yeah, an ID and a size, sure. So it takes the last one here. Walks them in reverse again. Finds last index of that. Let's see. First free space. Sure. Okay. I've not done this before, having like a function inside your function. So that's what I would normally do, is probably just write a func or an action, but this is like a neater way to do that probably. Looks better like this, and than just, because my style is always to, I think I did that here, right? Yeah, I will always just have like a small action or a func in line. But writing an actual function like this, just past your, at the end of your function, just to scope it locally, I can see the appeal of this. Nineberry says, I only use that when the function is very small and really needs to access local values from the surrounding function. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's like an alternative to doing local action or func declarations. Yeah. Okay. Nineberry, you're up next. Let's see, part 1 simple. Is there a part 1 complicated? The simple variant of part 1 shows how this can be done in a few lines of code without all the fancy stuff. For example, what I did yesterday. And depends on what you think is fancy, of course, but let's see. Sure. This is what I talked about in stream yesterday, like you could do mod, but actually the is-odd integer is probably a lot more efficient. It's probably a lot more efficient than doing it mod too. Another enumerable dot repeat. Ah, that's funny. So this one will just move on to the next free space. Yeah, I like this. They will just move towards each other. Yeah, this is a nice way of doing it. Bum, bum, bum. Move files. Okay. Move left. Let's see. Add move blocks at the left side and adapt gap. Blocks that add before. Ah, okay. So you take the, I assume left is like the free space. Then you modify that length. Yeah. Nice. So what do you do if this is 0? Let's see. Add gap at the right side and adapt file length. Oh yeah, so this takes the stuff that you took and makes an empty block there. Nineberry says, I have my own way of ignoring 0 length stuff. See below the is valid. Okay. Well, the move of the insert before is still valid. Only the remaining of the block range here. Or do you mean that you filter them out later? We'll figure it out. Let's see. Move blocks well left, well right, yeah. On left side, skip non-gaps. Ah, okay. And is valid gap is basically probably larger than 0 thing. Yeah, okay. But shouldn't you remove that block then? Move block is the fancy version of part 1. Ah, okay. Handling all the gaps. Yep. We can break if we reach the most right remaining file. The gap after that will not be filled. True. Skip over now gaps. Yep. Nice. I really like the simple part 1 thing. I like this approach a lot. Let's see, Amate in C++. Important note, I wanted to learn how to create own memory allocators and to remind myself of double linked lists. I did that last year. And I gave myself a headache, but it's fun when it works. Can probably fish up. I wonder which day that was. Do I have a comment called linked? No. I don't remember which day it was, but I had like a whole circular reference thing that, and then you would have to cut and rejoin things, and yeah, I remember working on that, and having a double linked list is, it can mess with your head a bit if you don't stay focused. If you want me to not look at it, just tell me, but I'll take a look at it for a bit. Even though I'm not great at C++ and might take a bit longer to understand it all. Library says, I had to write multiple linked list implementations at university, so I can now rely on the provided library implementations. Yeah. I'm about to say, but I know what's going on. It's fast enough, so I'm happy. Sure, feel free. Okay. Is what... Like, I know for... like for some languages, you would... to prevent having... like the whole memory management stuff overhead, sometimes you would just allocate like a few megs of or a few hundred or gigs actually of RAM, and then manage that as a raw object yourself. Is that what you did here? Because that is what springs to mind. Yes, that's my memory pool. Okay, so yeah, I know the concept then. Define the static memory pool. Memory pool does not support automatic growth yet, so allocate as much as we think is more than enough. A couple of megabytes. Half a meg times 8 plus 16. Okay, so that's okay. We can go 100 times more and still be fine. To do. Change initial size 1 memory pool implementation autogrowth. Implements autogrowth. Okay, but with anything that can auto-grow, if you properly size it right away, that's always like preferred over auto-grow, right? And from this size, I can tell you already did the auto-grow, but it's good to write it, right? Otherwise you would have a bigger initialization value. Construct file system. First, next, and new. Okay. Yeah, I did it. I wonder what the is odd does. Does it just can it just check like the last bit to make it odd? Because everything is powers of 2, right? So is that basically like the is odd? Would that just check the last, if the last bit was set? That would probably be more efficient than this. But then again, it might be optimized in the compiler, right? So let's see. Compute this before continuing the loop due to size equals 0, so that file index is actual. Okay. So the first time, next equals first equals new. Okay. Yeah. Because we have nothing yet, yet. So both next and first will be the same. So this one will be a pointer to itself right now. Funny. Ah no, this is for the after this. Okay. Okay, let's see. So you commented out the printfs. Was that easier than to just comment out the call? Probably have it in a lot of places. Let's see. Step 1, single digit list. Is that a type that you made? A helper? Look lightning. Me trying to solve things using a minimalistic approach. Let's see, construct file system. Then it gets the first free space. So you loop till you have no free space, or the last one is done. Okay. And my data is kind of slow. better to comment it out. Okay. Okay, so this one will just update that value while also checking. It's free space at the back, unlink, delete. Okay. Okay, sure. The size is the same, copy the file, then unlink the last descriptor. If the size of the last descriptor is largest, copy ID and change the size of the last. Do not unlink the last descriptor. Sure. If it's smaller, do as above, but make last descriptor a new empty space. Sure. Pretty scary, but it makes sense, trust me. I love comments like this. So, okay. So this looks up all the free space. Find the first fitting space. This does not seem to work for live input. Works in test, of course. Is that still the case, or did you fix it? Fallback loop below finds proper end. Ah, okay. So you fixed it with a fallback piece of code. But I don't see. Ah, that's this one, right? Wait, the fallback start. This is cause this causes around 230 milliseconds of part 2 time. Okay. No, I haven't found a problem yet. Okay. Sure. I'm missing parts here, I think, but I'll just skip over it for now. If next is not null pointer, size, if they are equal. This swaps them and only do more work if need be. So if they're equal size, the job is done. Otherwise, you need to make a new empty space. Sure, makes sense. Okay. Oh, and I should not go here. So I guess we're at day 10 now. So let's start reading and see how I fare. I've seen people say that it was fairly quick, so let's see if I find a way to overcomplicate this as well. Day 10, Hoof it. You all arrive at a lava production facility on a floating island in the sky. As the others begin to search the massive industrial complex, you feel a small nose boop your leg and look down to discover a reindeer wearing a hard hat. All the confidence, Luke says, "You will," and Marty says, "We believe in you." Yeah, thanks. The reindeer is holding a book titled Lava Island Hiking Guide. However, when you open the book, you discover that most of it seems to have been scorched by lava. As you're about to ask how you can help, the reindeer brings you a blank topographic map of the surrounding area, your puzzle input, and looks up at you excitedly. Perhaps you can fill in the missing hiking trails. The topographic map indicates a height at each position using a scale from 0 lowest to 9 highest, for example. Okay. Nineberry says, astonishingly this day was very quick for some people and very hard and long for some other people. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Luke says, I found it to be very easy. Okay, so get ready for a 4-hour stream. I made some tea. Based on unscored scraps of the book, you determine that a good hiking trail is as long as possible and has an even, gradual uphill slope. For all practical purposes, this means that a hiking trail is any path that starts at height 0 and ends at height 9, and always increases by a height of exactly 1 at each step. Hiking trails never include diagonal steps, only up, down, left or right from the perspective of the map. You look up from the map and notice that the reindeer has helpfully begun to construct a small pile of pencils, markers, rulers, compasses, stickers and other equipment you might need to update the map with hiking trails. A trailhead is any position that starts one or more hiking trails. Here, these positions will always have height of 0. Assembling more fragments of pages, you establish that a trailhead score is the number of 9 height positions reachable from that trailhead via a hiking trail. If in the above example, the single trailhead in the top left corner has a score of 1 because it can reach a single 9, the one in the bottom left. This trailhead has a score of 2. Sure. The positions marked period are impassable tiles. To simplify these examples, they do not appear in your actual topographical map. Okay, so the real one will just have numbers, but it will be offset by more than 1. This trailhead has a score of 9 because every 9 is reachable via a hiking trail except the one immediately to the left of the trailhead. Okay. This topographic map contains 2 trailheads. The trailhead at the top has a score of 1, while the trailhead at the bottom has a score of 2. Here is a larger example. This larger example has 9 trailheads. Consider the trailheads in reading order. They have scores of 5, 6, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, and 5. Adding these scores together, the sum of the scores of all the trailheads is 36. Okay. The reindeer gleefully carries over a protractor and adds it to the pile. What is the sum of the scores of all trailheads on your topographical map? Okay. Okay. Let's take the large example as the input example. Let's copy day 0 to make day 10. Boom. Here's our test input, and I think it was 36, right? 36? Yes, okay. Sure. Const start marker is 0. End marker is 9. Boom, 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 for raw map. Basically, this is a string array. Is input dot 2 lines. No, 2 lines. We do map. No, it's grid map. Grid location. Actually, this is it's a list of grid location starting points. Map is new grid, and I thought I had that in the constructor actually, but that's fine. Rows is raw map length. Columns is raw map .0 length. Now we have raw map as grid locations, and we want the starting. Actually, we do it like this. Start marker first, right? Ah, this is the hash set like this. Okay. So now we have all our starting points that we can start from. So we do for each, and this probably needs to be a queue. Let's see. What do we want to keep track of? We want to have a queue. We don't care. Do we care? I don't think we don't even need a priority queue here because we just need to explore the options. I might be wrong there, but queue of, this is grid location start, grid location current. We have a hash set of grid location visited. We have a hash set of grid location let me think. We need to keep track of the unique ones that they found per. So it's probably like a dictionary of grid location, which represents the start marker with a hash set of grid location and points reached. So now we can do for each var start in starting points, q.enqueue, and what we put in here is start, and a new list of this. I have this logic here for walkable neighbors, but I need to have like the opposite logic there. Should probably just do this and then validate them. But that's for later. So we have all of them in the queue, and then we do while queue.count either 0 for entry this queue.dequeue. Then we do for each var in get walkable neighbors, and then we take q.current. Now we need to validate this. If not q.visited.contains n. But probably the value, make sure we have not gone before. We also need to make sure that we validate the value first, because that's lighter than the what do you call it? Than the contains. So we need to make sure that raw map. Do I have something for that? Probably not, right? It's fine. Raw map n.row n.col equals to current val is raw map q.current.row q.current.column next val is current val plus 1, and I need to cast this. It doesn't like that, right? So I need to do this like don't even have to do the Python there. Okay, so yeah, if this one is next val, and we haven't visited that one yet, let's see, if next val is end marker, else q. So this trail dies here. So now we can do if not endpoints reach dot, and actually we can pre-init this one so that it at least exists. So add start comma block. So we don't have to check. So we can do var endpoint reach get. Actually, we can just do q.start add like this. If it will be double, that's not an issue. Otherwise, we need to queue it. So now we do q.enqueue q.start n q.visited. And this one needs to be a new copy, but we also need to make sure that we add the current one that we are in right now. Yes, like this. Can all no, they can start with their own so that they don't go back, so that is fine. We add one to the queue here. I think this is actually the full logic already. Now we need to count for each one of these how many they've reached. So we do for each var start and endpoints reached console.writeLine something like this. So we can do start.key start.value.count, and here we can do a string join. And now we can do start value, something like this, right? p1 plus equals start at value that counts. Wasn't that the... yeah, okay. Let's make sure that we start today. And let's see what the code does. Okay. So yeah, that works. As expected, part 1 passed. Let's run the real input. False, let's disable. Actually, let's make sure that we do this if test. Woohoo! First gold star in the bag. Right away, no bugs. That's nice. So yeah, this was pretty straightforward. Don't look so impressed, Amarde. I'm joking. Let's see what part 2 has in store for us. The reindeer spends a few minutes reviewing your hiking trail map before realizing something, disappearing for a few minutes, and then finally returning with yet another slightly charred piece of paper. The paper describes a second way to measure a trailhead called its rating. A trailhead's rating is the number of distinct hiking trails which begin at the trailhead. For example, the above map has a single trailhead. Its rating is 3 because there are exactly 3 distinct hiking trails which begin at that position. Here is a map containing a single trailhead with rating 13. This map contains a single trailhead with rating 227. Okay. There are 121 distinct hiking trails that lead to the 9 on the right edge and 106 that lead to the 9 on the bottom edge. Wait, what? Okay, I need to reread that again. Nah, no bugs, good result in first try is impressive. Yeah, thanks. I know, I was just joking. That lead to the 9 on the bottom edge, okay. Here's a large example from before. Considering its trailhead in reading order, they have ratings of 20, 24, 10, for blah, 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 okay. The sum of all trailhead ratings in the larger example topograph is 81. You're not sure how, but the reindeer seems to have crafted some tiny flags out of toothpicks and bits of paper and is using them to mark trailheads on your topographical map. What is the sum of the ratings of all trailheads? Okay, so now I need to go back because I didn't understand it fully. So at first when I was reading this, I thought like, okay, basically what I need to do is just count how many times I branch off here within one thing. Right, because, yeah. And now I'm not so sure. Let me think. Oh wait, but it still only counts the one that reached the end. Is that true? Okay. Now I wonder if I need to consider every unique path. But somehow I think I should just work in reverse. No. Leak says yes. Um, let me think. So what are two? So I'm just still trying to make sure that I understand what I need, what needs to be done. So this reads like, okay, I need to keep track of every start to end 9 combination, and then how many different ways there were to get there, how many times it branched off to get there. No, basically how many times you get there. Okay, let me just try something, because my head is still a bit fuzzy, but I think it's how many paths from 0 to 9. Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do it. So, oops. Because if I just copy this here, let me just take considering the large example from before 81. Okay, let's just make sure that I have the test one in here as well. Let's go back to true. No, true. Let me see. Let me think. So is it as simple as this just being a dictionary grid location, comma, and then this, and this needs to be a list, not a hash set, and then I need to have like a sequence equals thing to check that it's. No, it will never have any duplicates there, because it will always, it will branch off in different ways, so it will always be okay. So I think this actually just can be an int to just count, but let me see. If not, try get value n out var out int count is 0. N is count plus 1. So like this. Steve asks how this one coming along. Part 1 was fine. I just did that in, I think it's maybe 20 minutes. One shot. I just coded it out, ran, and it worked. Part 2, I'm not quite as confident. I just read part 2 and I'm just trying to figure out how to do it. And my reasoning is that I probably just have to, because it automatically branches off, and there's like a, I have logic here to make sure that I don't do the same path twice. But this might not be enough because this might not count if you get to the same point in a different route. So maybe, no, it will branch out. It will be fine. I think this might work, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just coding this and then see if it works. So now endpoints reached. So this part becomes different. So basically we do for each var end in start dot value keys like this. The examples he gives cover that case. Yeah, so I'll find out soon enough if I fumbled here. But yeah, reading comprehension isn't my strongest suit. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, this is fine. Then I can do dot end. Actually, just end. Basically, this becomes start dot value and dot count. Unique paths. I think this should be it. Let's see what this does. Okay. The value is correct. Not sure why I still don't feel good. So let's see. Let's try another one. Here's map 301. This map contains, okay, let's do this one, and it expects 227. Okay, let's see. Does your code handle the dots in that example? It does not. So this will be, I will just make this one. So they will be invalid. My part one. Let's just run part two now. Yeah, okay, so my logic is correct, it just doesn't feel good to me. Actually, it would have worked with the periods now that I remember it. But yeah, okay. Let's just run the real input. So part two is this. Second gold star, also in so like 0 bugs, both parts in one try. Yay! Hey Kay, nice of you to join. So yeah, it's are you fully caught up? Yeah, I've done the whole calendar. So I've streamed every day. It's just like with my schedule, with work and family, it's I'm all over the place. So when it's a busy day, I usually stream in the evening. sometimes after dinner so that my kids can watch me stream, which I've done a few times now and they really seem to enjoy. So, but today with like all the social obligations they have, it wasn't an option. So then I stream fairly late at night. But yeah, this was fairly easy. It's just like reading part 2 for me. Like in the back of my mind, obviously I did the right thing, but it still felt a bit icky because I didn't fully know that it would work the way that I thought it would. Yeah, this was a fairly easy day looking back at it, but sometimes when I read this, it's like, okay, I think it means this, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, the approach that I took in part 1 really helped with part 2. It's just a small modification. And for once, the code is fairly clean, I think. I'm not ashamed to look at this, and this is even before refactoring, so yeah, I like it. Okay, says I spent an hour on part 2 streaming. Yeah, I've been there. I think on YouTube you can still go back to my streams from previous years, and there have been streams where I've been like struggling for 4 hours trying to figure it out, and then in the end just like, okay, you know, it's 1 a.m. I really need to quit and look at it freshly in the next day, because stuff like this, when I don't get it, it keeps me up, especially when I stream in the morning and I don't get it and I have like work commitments that I have to do. I'm my own boss, so I have some flexibility in how I work and do stuff, but there's still lots of stuff that needs to get done. So when that happens to me, when I in the morning stream and then don't get it, then that ruins my whole day because I just can't let go. I can't let go. And then I'm stubborn, like I want to figure it out myself. I don't want to go on Reddit. Yeah. So I'm happy that hasn't happened so far yet, but I'm sure there will be moments because I've never completed, I think, the full year yet. There are still things that I need to go look up and go back. So if I go to previous events, I started in 2019, and every year there have been some things that I didn't meant to finish. And then I think 2 years ago with Luke we had some fun and we did 2015 and completed that one. I still need to go back and do these someday, but yeah. But I really love doing Advent of Code, it's great. Let's see. Steve says, I've been having a good bit of fun optimizing for speed this year. Yeah. Are you in the C# Discord, like the official one? They really love doing that there. Steve says, AOC is my favorite thing on the internet. Me too, I'm just not as hardcore. And I wish, like, something that I really like to do is build visualizations and stuff. But I just wish I had more time. Steve says, yeah, I'm on there. I've been posting. Yeah, you'll fit right in there. Okay, says, and then Nineberry, I think, pointed out I could just change my sets to list in part 1 and it just runs. That's one of the good things, like having chat there to help. It's nice when you can go to chat for some assistance. I remember like there was a one with like, I think the Loch Ness Monster, or with like rotating and flipping tiles, where I made like whole toolkits to like visually point stuff and then map it, and I should probably go through all of my old code again. But yeah, I was stuck on that one as well, and then I just like, I took some of my inputs and some of my assumptions. I was like, okay, can you just run somebody that has a working solution? Can you tell me where to look, where the error is? And sometimes stuff like that is really helpful. And I thought about building a service like that, so you can just put in like your AOC input, your output, and that it can just tell you where you are wrong in a way, but it will be hard to construct like that. But I like having a resource like that without getting spoiled, just to know, hey, this case, this is where you're not handling it correctly, then going back and have more targeted debugging to solve it. That would be really nice. And that's something that Stream affords you. So let's see. Steve says, so far this year, I don't have any that take a full millisecond. Yeah, it's a luxury I don't have, I'm afraid. Yeah, people seem to love that one back then. Nineberry says she only reads chat after finishing, so she only found out after writing a very complex solution for part 2. Yeah, I admire that. I really, for myself, I really like enjoy doing this and having people here that also like it, having chat there. Uh, I haven't had anybody to really spoil something for me yet. I think maybe if that happens, I might change my views on reading chat while doing the Advent of Code. But yeah, so far everybody is just great. I have a few core people that visit me every time and a few lurkers that hang out. But so far, like Advent of Code streaming is just a great experience for me. It's just a lot of fun. So yeah, I think we'll go to the Discord. For those that are not there yet, I'll just drop a link in chat. If you want, you can share your code there and I'll go through it. I've also been playing a little bit, just a little bit, with the Twitch APIs to see if I can build something more of an overlay. So, but yeah, I don't have any time to do that. I still need to go home and build 3 new computers for some customers because all the parts arrived today. And Luke kindly shares it for the viewers. It's also fun. So yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Let's see. Who was the first to post day 10? Nineberry. Quick one again. Okay, let's see. For reference, in general, I really like Nineberry solutions because they're always very minimal in terms of like code use and very clear to read. So I have high expectations as every day. So let's see. No, I didn't know. I didn't know Twitch could do that. Make things like that big. What's that? Power-ups and rewards. Okay. I didn't even know the thing that I have, so did not know I could do this. That's nice. That's that stuff like this is what makes Twitch fun, right? Having the custom emojis, and I should do more with that. Maybe one day. Maybe I'll find some time and do more with it. Let's see, what was it? Oh yeah, I was reading Nineberry's code. Let's see, for each key point contains one path to a point height 9. And that endpoint and key point can appear multiple times, and there are multiple paths there from the key point. Okay. So yeah, a grid initializer with heights, sure. Initialize heights. Let's see, char is. Okay, so you took the time to convert to numeric value here. I thought about that, but I was like, it doesn't really matter because you can just treat like in ASCII the values 0 to 9 are sequential, so you can just make sure that the next one is just one value bigger. Trailhead scores heights were okay, so this gets the starting ones, right? And then get reachable paths. Get a unique one. Okay. So the difference here is basically the distinct. That's why it's written like this, right? Okay. Is in grid, sure. Let's see. Nineberry get scores is part 1 and get rating part 2. Yeah. Oh, did I say it the wrong way around? No, it was correct. Okay. Yeah.
Recursive DFS with memoization. Okay. Okay. That's basically all the same. Sure. Having a little bit more trouble reading this than I first thought, but let's see part. Okay. I just wonder. Now it obviously works, so that doesn't matter. Now I was thinking like if it mattered from which angle um, you would arrive there, but it's a different way of doing it. Steve says, if you think that's hard to read, you're in for a real unpleasant surprise if you make it to mine. No, I had a different thing in my head, so that it takes a little bit of time to switch over to a different way of doing it. But it's still very clear, and it just I expected something different, which is why I needed a little bit more time to switch. Direction doesn't matter, yeah. That is true. It's just for my part to make sure that I don't go off into, and I can only go up, so that really doesn't matter there. Yeah, valid point. Let's see, SMAP. Let's see, find all the trails. Lava map. What does the as heights do? That just converts to a single digit. To the array around. Lava map for each cell where locations trailhead. Yeah. Select many. Height to summit. Create trailhead. Like to summit for each trail in map.next positions. If it's there, sure. Okay. As was that this one? Okay. As heights. Okay. Create trailhead. Where was this reference? Create trailhead? Okay, yeah, this one takes that and it creates. Okay, it's a trail, sure. Let's see, he's using the same approach as me, full tree walking using recursive. Yeah, I'm just looking at all the custom functions to see what they do. Sure. Okay, nice. Let's see, I'm a bit disappointed that the optimizations are added from the beginning. Caching of intermediate results means actually no visual difference in runtime, even with the full given input. Made part 2 before part 1. My first was wrong counting was exactly what was required for part 2. Okay. I hope that you saved it so you don't have to do it again. Just like me only needed to remove the distinct for part 2, yeah. Let's see, processed path. If location is 9, okay, let's start with here. Single digit map, okay. Parses the map. Select value, okay. Is this a custom helper? Martin says, I actually had to add it back, but it was like 3 or 4 lines of code. Ah, okay. Boom, 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 boom. So you get all the starting locations, you go through it and then process path. Okay. If you reach the end, if why this check here? Let's see, trailheads. Yeah, I made a lot of custom stream helpers. Okay, nice. Locations. I'm just trying to understand what this part does here. So let's see. You have an unordered map of the trailheads. Isn't that the... That's a pointer, can be null pointer. But can it be in your flow? Is it just the safety that you put in here, or just like a defensive programming thing that you just always make sure that you don't assume there? Ah, okay. For part 2 it's not required and saves time. Okay. Let's see, neighbor locations, get neighbors. It just checks if they are valid. Okay. And then a recursive call there. Okay. Ah, okay, wait. Ah, okay. I think I understand it. So for the first part, it just counts as 1, and then here you count all the unique ones, right? Old sum loops that work but are slow. It says around 200 microseconds. Okay, Steve will be over the moon. Man, if I were to try to compete with making it fast, I have a whole new thing to learn. Nineberry says, when I started C++ in my youth, I also tried to use operator overloading everywhere. Now I am happy. This hasn't caught on in C# and is only rarely used. Steve says it, I'm all about saving microseconds. Yeah. Like, ideally I would do this all year and just probably go back and then try different things. I really like, I don't remember which day it is, cheat. Here. This was day 5, yeah. On Reddit, after I always try to go to Reddit after if there's a day that has like more than one approach. And I found a guy that said, well, you don't even need to do the calculations, just it's set up in a way that every preceding one has a rule for it. So if you just divide the length by half and you find out which one has, you first have to do the rule filtering back to the valid rules. That take the one that has like that length in preceding rules, that's your answer. You don't need to do any of the other stuff. So I really like when people find stuff like this. And when I see that, it's like, okay, I have to try, like implement it myself, see it for myself, play with it. And I think there were a few other days where I was like, oh, I took an approach and then I read about something more clever and I was like, okay, let's do that as well, get a feel for it. So yeah, I like doing that. The same happened to ChatGPT. Okay, I'll have to watch that video later. Good to know. I think the same way machine does. Yeah. Hey Steve, let's see. Let me take a sip of my tea. Getting ready for some optimized code here. With height, score sum, rating sum. Get data stream. Get line info for regular file. Okay. Allocate uninitialized array. Nice. Span of bytes, new line dump, stack allocate. Okay. Yeah, okay. It reads like this is the whole row. New line dump. Okay. So this is just to forward the stream, ignoring the new line. Am I reading this correctly? The new line dump is so that it can handle platforms with zero. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Sum score. Rating sum. So this is like a CPU extension, right? Based, I think probably all modern CPUs have this extension. So this is a specific instruction set. The name is familiar. Calculate scores and ratings AVX2. Yeah, 256-bit vector registers on x86. Okay. What's the timing difference between those two? I assume you've benchmarked it. Let's see. I haven't even bothered to do any parallel work. For like yesterday's one, the parallelization would have been probably able to speed some things up. And there have been days where it's even more independent all. So let's see, parallel for grid. Well, the input for today is really, really small, so only a few microseconds. For larger input, it would be significant. You probably haven't seen this before, but let me, you might like that. There is this form, it's Dutch, so you might need to use Google Translate. But every year, usually this guy, Soul Taker, creates hardened inputs, which like stress tests your solution. So he will make like a few megabyte input files that make sure that you need to have an optimal solution for each to run them. So I think if you go through this thread, he had like a few getting started things even before Advent of Code started. So you might have to go a bit through this forum, but there's lots of stuff like here, day -7. So he created some fun Advent of Code style things with hardened inputs as well. And usually he posts like, I think like the last few digits so that you know if you have the right thing, because there's no input submit. It's all like, here's a zip file with data, here's the instructions, give me the answer. And then he will post like either the actual numbers in a spoiler, or he will post like just the last few digits so that you can validate. And then usually timings there as well. So that might be something that you're into. For previous years, I actually, when I had more time, I would take some of the things he did, put it on Reddit as like a hardened example with links to the forum so that he could get credit, etc. And people really liked it, but yeah, it's just there's only so little time in the day. So I'm happy when I can do the stream. So yeah, it reminded me of that. You might get a kick out of it. What is this actually? I know like the bit shifting with 2. But what does the one with 3 do? I haven't seen that or done that myself. New parallel of max degrees. Okay. Unsigned logical right shift. Okay. It still doesn't ring any bells. Well, how is it different from a regular right shift? If you want to teach me something. If you're not, you can just say RTFM and I'll Google it later. But if you want, I have you here. Maybe somebody else will learn something as well. And this is basically auto sense, right? Do whatever is optimal for the platform, or is this just max, no limit? Let's see, new Yulong 25. I wonder why 25 is journey. Let's see, it's an arithmetic right shift. So if the number is signed and negative, it will fill in one bits on the left. Will fill in zeros regardless of the sign. Okay. Cool. I'll make a note of myself to mean, yeah, -1 is mean as much as it can. Okay. Okay. I know there's like optimal numbers based on your physical CPU cores, etc. I will have to do some more reading about when to use this. It's interesting. I like the binary stuff and I use bit shifting quite a lot, but I've never used this. So also like you initialize this to 25. Did that have a significance there? Bedroom states 0, sure. Would it matter to like put this as a const outside? I mean the overhead is minimal, but broadcast color to vector 25. Okay. Index is batch number. Unsafe read underline. Okay. Yeah, the number, the input is 40 times 40, so 25 Ulongs is exactly that. Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, some hardcore optimization stuff here. Nice. Read underline vector. Bit in new world. Okay. Also never used this before. I think if you would like annotate this code to explain all of the stuff that's going on, I think the explanation would probably be like 10 times the length of the current code. Bit enumerable is my strong. Okay. Let's see. You just give it an integer type, it enumerates the 1 bits. Okay. It says the signed is super fast integer division by 32 because 32 bits fit into a single register. So it searches for 32 cells at once, looking for trailheads. Okay. Yeah. This is way above my pay grade. I can tell you that, but it's cool to look at. Bits will have one each location where to find the trailhead. Okay. I see similar constructions here. Oh yeah, this is the old approach, which makes sense. It's fun to compare stuff like this. Is that for thread safety? Interlock.add? Never use that as well. Yeah, I think I need to study this code in my own time and not keep people up too long. But it's nice to look at this. But yeah, it's a lot harder to read. But it's cool when you try to push like every last bit of performance. Skip locals in it. Okay. But I remember this from seeing your code in the past. You always do like stuff like this, and it's like its own form of sport. It's pretty cool. But this, yeah, I'm not at this level in depth. Let's see, including reading the file, it takes about 100 microseconds for both parts on my laptop. Yeah, that's very impressive. I think. I need to do day 10. If I do like var bars start is stopwatch dot get timestamp var bars no. So we can do console.writeline parsing and then we can have parsed p1 Did I didn't even note my actual answer, so I need to put that in there as well, because we'll hit a breakpoint. Did I change the correct one? Oh, okay. So yeah, it's still pretty fast, but nowhere near that fast. Steve says, I use benchmark.net, which includes warm-up for jitters, or this will not be a fair... Yeah, I know. But still, it's pretty fast. I'm not complaining. This is probably one of my faster days with code. No, it's 14. Yeah, I think 14. So that would be 100 milliseconds. This is 10 milliseconds, so 14 milliseconds. So it's not bad. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I think that concludes it, right? Nothing else was posted to the Discord. Let me check. Yeah, I think I'll go watch this video later on. But this is, I stopped thinking some 2 hours ago. Yeah, I can imagine. It's getting late. Yeah, that's the downside of doing this at the end of the day. It gets late and the brain needs chill. But yeah. let's see if we can rate somebody doing Advent of Code. I'm pretty sure it would be around a millisecond or two if you benchmarked it properly. It's fast. Yeah. It's also. Oh. Yep. Wrong order. I wanted to stop the music, then enabled it so that I can hear somebody on Twitch. Let's see, Advent of Code, and let's rate somebody. Yeah, it's also like a debug build with a debugger attached. It's not. Do we have a preference for somebody to rate? Just go and say hi. French? Somebody doing a TypeScript. Noob at the Elixir started learning doing this AOC. Do you have a preference? Otherwise, I'm just gonna check this one out probably. Let's see. It has an interesting overlay. No, let's just. Okay. I'll just rate this person because it's a nice thing to do. And then. Does it work like this, or do I need to be in my? I need to be here, probably raid. Okay. So yeah, thanks everybody for keeping me company. Let's go say hi to Flaffy BE for Belgium maybe, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Stream has been going for 3 hours, so yeah, I need to stop my own streams. Let's do this now. Bye bye.